You are 20 years old. 6 months ago, your biggest problem was getting ink off your hands. You worked in your father's print shop in Cologne. You knew the smell of it, solvent and paper and machine oil. You knew the sound the press made when it caught its rhythm, that steady clatter you could set a clock to. You knew your mother's voice, calling you in for dinner while the bells of St. Ursula rang across the square.
Your father's fingernails were always faintly gray. No matter how many times he washed his hands, the ink never fully came out. You used to think that was just what a printer's hands looked like. You didn't know yet that some things don't come out. You thought you knew what your life would look like. Then the letter came. Then the train. Then months of road east that seemed to have no end. Until it did. Until it ended here.
Now you are thousands of kilometers from that square, standing in the ruins of a city on the Volga. You are freezing. You are starving. And you are surrounded. You reach into your coat. Your fingers find the photograph, soft at the corners now, the way cloth gets soft from handling. Your family. You hold it for a second, the way you always do now, like checking a pulse. You don't know it yet, but that photograph is about to become the only home you have left. You wake to artillery. Not distant, close. Close enough that dust sifts down from the half-collapsed ceiling above you, fine as flour, settling on your blanket without a sound. You don't move at first. You just listen, counting the gaps between impacts the way you've learned to without meaning to. 2 seconds. 3. A rhythm you never asked to memorize. Someone is shouting outside. You can't make out the words, only the shape of panic underneath them. You sit up. Concrete floor. There was a mattress in this cellar once, before the building above it came down and someone dragged the mattress off for firewood. Your breath fogs in the air in front of you. It is the 23rd of November, and the cold has already gotten into everything it can reach. Your boots, the bolt of your rifle, the spaces between your fingers. Weber is already awake across from you, staring at a crack in the wall like it said something to him. He's from Bremen, a shipping clerk before all this, 7 years older than you, married 11 months before he shipped out. Neither of you says good morning anymore. There's nothing good left in the word. You climb the cellar stairs into what used to be a street. The city is rubble stacked on rubble, snow filling craters that used to be basements, that used to be someone's kitchen. Near a collapsed doorway, half buried, a child's shoe. You've trained yourself not to look at things like that too long. Smoke rises somewhere toward the factory district, toward the Red October works, toward the tangle of rail track the men have started calling the tennis racket for the shape it makes on the map. The smoke never quite stops. The city breathes it out, the way a body breathes when it's still alive, but only barely. Then the words come down the line, the way bad news always travels faster than good news does. Surrounded. The Soviet pincers have met west of the city. Every road out is closed. You don't know the number yet. More than 250,000 men, sealed into a pocket some 100 kilometers around. You only know that the road home, whatever road that was ever going to be, is gone. You tell yourself it's temporary, a setback. Command will open a corridor. Supplies will come through. They always have. You have to believe something. So you believe that. The days stop being days and start being lists of what's missing. Bread arrives less, then less again. A heel of it stretched across 2 days, sometimes 3. When there's meat, it's horse, taken from animals that used to pull the supply carts. Animals some of the older men had names for and don't say out loud anymore. You stop asking what's in the pot. You just eat, slowly, because the eating
is the only warm part of the day.
The cold doesn't announce itself the way the guns do. It doesn't shout. It takes quietly. Fingers first, then feet. Then, eventually, the will to get up at all. You've seen a man lean against a wall to rest for a moment and simply not move again. Nobody talks about it when it happens. There's nothing left to say about it that hasn't already been said. And saying it twice doesn't bring anyone back.
Ammunition gets counted the way you used to count minutes until the shop closed for the night. Except there's no closing time now. No walk home, no door. The building that used to be a field hospital is just a building with more screaming in it than the others. You walk past it fast, eyes forward. You've learned to walk past most things that way. You ask what the plan is. Command keeps giving you the same word. Hold. Hold until the relief column reaches you. Hold until the breakthrough. Hold. Nobody can tell you when. At night, you and Weber sit against a wall that's still mostly standing, splitting whatever's left of the ration in silence. He talks about his wife sometimes, Ilse, a name he says like it costs him something. You talk about the shop, the smell of the ink, your father's gray fingernails. It's the only conversation left that still belongs to the other world. And you hold on to it like a small fire you're both feeding.
In your coat pocket, there is a photograph, worn soft from how many times you've taken it out. Your family, standing in front of a house whose color you can no longer quite picture. Your mother's hand on your shoulder. Your father half smiling. He always smiled like that for a camera. Like smiling all the way felt like showing off. At night, when the shelling thins out enough to hear your own thoughts, you take the photograph out. You don't so much look at it as hold it, the way you'd hold something warm on a cold morning.
You think about the letter you'll write when this is over, what you'll tell them, what you won't. You think about trying to describe the cold and decide you probably won't. There's no sentence that would make sense to someone standing in a warm kitchen on the Rhine. I just need to get back to them. It becomes the only plan that still makes sense. Not victory. Not the objective on some staff officer's map. Just a door in Cologne. And the people on the other side of it. One night, Weber asks to see the photograph. You hand it over. He looks at it a long moment, longer than it needs, and gives it back without a word. And you understand he's thinking of his own photograph, folded into his own coat. A woman named Ilse, standing in front of a building he hasn't seen in a year. Neither of you says it out loud, but you're both carrying the same plan now, and somehow that makes the nights shorter. For a while, there's a version of hope that has a schedule. Command says the Luftwaffe will supply the pocket from the air until the ring is broken. 600 tons a day, they say, though no one you know has ever seen 600 tons of anything. You watch the sky over Pitomnik airfield for the transports. Some days they come. Most days the weather, or the fighters, or something else keeps them away. And the ration gets smaller instead of bigger. Word passes down that General Manstein is moving to break through from the southwest. Operation Winter Storm, a name that sounds like it was chosen by someone who has never actually been cold. For a few days, something loosens in your chest. Men start talking about after instead of now, about marching out of this instead of dying in it. You let yourself imagine it. The corridor opening, a route east, and then further, and then, impossibly, a route all the way home. Then, in the second week of December, the relief force stalls short of the pocket. It never gets close enough to matter. The news moves through the ranks the way the cold does. Quiet at first, then everywhere. Then impossible to outrun. There is no version of this, where help arrives from outside. Something shifts in you when you understand that. It isn't panic. It's quieter than panic. It's the sound of one hope closing a door gently behind it, like it doesn't want to wake you. You stop watching the sky after that, except to flinch at it.
By January, the battle has stopped being about the city and started being about the hour in front of you. Pitomnik falls, then the last strip at Gumrak. The airlift, such as it was, is finished. No more tonnage figures. No more watching the sky for something that isn't coming. Nobody talks about the objective anymore, or the mission, or what any of it was supposed to accomplish. The only conversations left are about the next meal, if there is one, and the next place to get warm, if there is one.
Men who were soldiers 3 months ago are something else now. Thinner, slower, quiet in a way that has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with having nothing left worth saying. Weber stops talking about Ilse. You stop talking about the shop. Some days neither of you talks at all. You just sit together, because sitting alone is worse. Once, without explaining why, he takes off one of his 2 pairs of socks and hands it to you. You don't ask. You just put it on. The temperature keeps dropping. The wounded keep coming, and there are fewer places to put them, and fewer hands left to carry them there.
You stop expecting anything. You just keep going, 1 hour into the next, because stopping means thinking about something you're not ready to think about. You notice small things now that you never used to notice. The exact gray of the light at dawn, the sound of your own boots on frozen ground, the weight of a rifle carried so long it stopped feeling like equipment and started feeling like a joint of your own arm. You wonder, distantly, if you'll remember any of this once it's over. You wonder if once it's over is even a sentence that applies to you.
The order comes on a morning that looks like every other morning. Gray sky, no wind. For the first time in months, the guns have gone quiet. And the quiet is stranger than the noise ever was. Lay down your weapon. You look at the rifle in your hands. You carried it through the long roads east, through the first sight of this city in September, its skyline of factory chimneys and the mound of Memayev Kurgan behind them, through the fighting for the tennis racket, through the cellar, through every night since the ring closed. It's the one piece of your old life that's still hanging on.
Months ago, you couldn't have imagined putting it down. Now, you almost don't want to pick it back up. You lower it into the snow. For the first time since the letter came to your father's shop, nobody is telling you where to point it. You walk out into the open with the others. A column of men that doesn't look like an army anymore. Just men. Cold, hollowed, alive. Some can barely stand. Some walk without seeming to feel the ground at all. You look for Weber. For a moment, you can't find him. Then you see him, further up the column. He's still alive. You don't wave. You don't call his name. You're not sure your voice would carry it anyway. You just keep walking. And somehow, that's enough. A Soviet soldier waves the line forward. You go. Nobody speaks. There's nothing left to say that the silence isn't already saying better. It is the 2nd of February, 1943. It will be years, for the ones who survive what comes next, before any of you sees home again. You reach into your coat one more time. Your fingers find the photograph. Still there. Somehow, after everything, still there. You look at your father's face, your mother's hand on your shoulder, the house behind them,
the color of it lost to you now, but the shapes still exact.
You entered this city thinking about victory. You leave it thinking only about survival. You don't know what's waiting for you beyond the edge of Stalingrad. You don't know how long the road back to Cologne will be, or whether it exists at all anymore. But you still want to go home. That is the one thing the war did not take.